an absolute right to you, for you, the way you dress you want. But I really think there's something called appropriateness in dress. Yeah. Now, if I were to walk into a slum, I would not be wearing a heavy Kanjipuram sari with a lot of jewelry, right? It is inappropriate. It would hurt the sensibilities of people there.
Yeah.
You know, unless I'm attending a wedding. So, in the same way, I think a dress can be appropriate and inappropriate in certain situations. Yeah? That has nothing to do with the right of the woman to dress the way she wants, nor can one justify that the dress is causing particular violence. Yeah? Those are very unconnected things. Like if you go for an interview, you will be appropriately dressed.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong in that. It doesn't mean that you can demand that you go the way you want. We create first impressions in our best dressed moments, right? So I think the way in which these photo shoots have emerged is, I look at it as to argue and say that this can happen to a model as well as to an ordinary person is trivializing the issue, because the issue of sexual violence on the basis of dress is incorrect. There's huge study to show that it is violence and it has nothing to do with provocative behavior. So he is trying, but in the process of saying that it is not provocative, he is showing models who would be seen by anyone as provocative. Anybody who sees these pictures are only going to look at the figure of the girl, and look at the bodies of these men. So it's titillating. So it doesn't really serve any message, and it doesn't indicate that. And the interiors of a bus, when you know that the vehicles are being used now to attack women. So it's really not a great, now for him it's really not a great statement that he seems to claim now that he is making. But he has taken advantage of a scenario that happened in India to suit his purpose of publicity or whatever. That's my take.
So there would be a legal perspective also to it?
I don't think so. But the pictures by themselves are not so great, no?
Okay, so ma'am, as a woman, what do you think is happening? As in the rape controversy, it's being debated too much, but still people are coming up with such thoughts. They're depicting.
See, that's because there's no understanding of sexuality, there's no understanding of wants, there's no understanding of communication between young people, there's no understanding of one's own desires. So you have this huge macho culture that's all around you, that's very repressed in various families, in their own cultural context, and then you are thrown into with these images of women, so obviously there's bound to be a lot of conflict in that area, not to justify any kind of an offense against women, but that conflict is put right there. So the only way in which you can actually address it for the future generation and for the younger generation is to start addressing issues of desire, sexuality and everything in a much more healthy way. How many schools have counselors where a young person can go and talk about their feelings? They are not going to be encouraged at all. So that, unless you address that, these kind of outbursts will always be happening.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for your time.